My name is Emily, and a few years ago, my own sister decided I should start paying her $8,100 a month to live in the house I'd been calling home. Our parents said it sounded reasonable. It wasn't. If something similar has ever happened to you, I want to hear your story in the comments. Rachel said it like she was reading a utility bill. $8,100 a month. Rent. She stood at the kitchen counter with a stapled packet, shoulders squared, voice steady, already moving on to the next point before anyone could interrupt. "This is the market rate in San Jose," she said. "I checked comps." She slid the pages across the counter. The spreadsheet had tidy columns, bold headers, and a logo at the top from a property management company I didn't recognize. My father glanced at it, then at his coffee. My mother nodded once. "It's expensive everywhere now," she said. Rachel tapped the last page with her finger. "You have 7 days," she said. "Sign the addendum, and we're good." No one raised their voice. No one asked why the number jumped that high all at once. The refrigerator hummed. The packet sat between us like it belonged there. I asked about the basics. Who's paying the property tax and insurance right now? Rachel didn't answer the question. "This is about responsibility," she said. "Everyone needs to pull their weight." She reached into a drawer and set a spare key on the counter, metal clicking against granite. "I'm managing the house," she said, "so this is how it works." The addendum looked official at first glance. The company name printed across the top wasn't one I'd ever heard. The effective date was listed as the 1st of last month. When I noticed that, Rachel was already gathering the papers back into a neat stack. "Oh, and the doorbell camera's down," she added. "Maintenance." She carried the packet to the printer and fed the pages through again, as if duplicates might make the number feel smaller. The machine whined, chewed the corner of a sheet, and froze. "This is all standard," Rachel said, pressing the same button 3 times while the error light blinked. Dinner never happened. My father rinsed his mug. My mother checked her phone. Rachel left the room with the papers tucked under her arm, keys clinking as she went upstairs. That night, my email chimed while I was still at the table. A PDF attachment loaded slowly, page by page, the same addendum, now cleaner and sharper on the screen. At the top was the same company name. At the bottom, a signature line waited. "Please sign by Friday, 5 p.m. The family group chat lit up right after. Messages stacked on each other, reminders to be flexible, comments about the market, a thumbs-up reaction to Rachel's last text. The phone kept vibrating on the table. The deadline sat on the screen, bright and exact, while the cursor blinked over the empty signature field. Another message came through from my mother. "Let's not make this harder than it needs to be," she wrote. A minute later, my father added, "We can talk tomorrow." Rachel's name appeared again, just one line. "Please confirm receipt." The cursor continued blinking. The attachment stayed open, still waiting there. By the next morning, the situation had already grown legs. My mother sent a separate text, not in the family chat, asking me not to turn this into a conflict. My father followed with a voicemail saying Rachel was just trying to be fair and that everyone needed to adjust sometimes. An aunt I hadn't spoken to in months called to check in, her voice careful, asking if I was doing okay with the new rent. At work, the pressure showed up differently. I asked my manager if I could take on extra hours for the next couple of weeks, framing it as preparation for possible housing changes. He nodded, then paused longer than usual before answering. "You sure everything's stable?" he asked. The question wasn't aggressive. It still landed heavy. Word travels faster than people think, even when no one says anything out loud. By lunchtime, Rachel's version had made its rounds. Messages filtered back through relatives and mutual friends, all slightly different, but pointing the same way. I'd been paying well below market. Rachel had carried the house for years. This adjustment was overdue. The numbers were high, sure, but San Jose was brutal. Maya met me outside the office with a paper bag and 2 forks. She didn't ask how I felt. She asked what the addendum said. "What's the company name?" she asked. I told her. "And the effective date?" I said that too. She nodded once, chewing slowly. Who sent the email? That question hadn't come up yet. Pulling out my phone, the message header showed the sender clearly. Rachel's personal email. No company domain, no shared inbox, just her name. That afternoon, a few tabs stayed open on my screen longer than my work needed. A quick search through the state registry turned up nothing for the company printed on the addendum. No license, no filings, no address. I called the tenant assistance line listed on the county website. After the automated menu and a short hold, a woman answered, polite and detached. Please provide your lease first, she said. I explained there was a dispute over the lease itself. I understand, she replied. We'll need the lease to proceed. The call ended with a survey request. Rachel sent another message that evening, upbeat and firm. Just checking in, let me know when you've signed. The family chat followed a similar rhythm. Comments about flexibility, notes about timing. No one mentioned the number again. Maya forwarded me a contact for a low-cost legal intake service. The website promised responses within 2 business days. The confirmation email arrived instantly. Thank you for your patience. The next morning, my phone buzzed before I got out of bed. A text from my mother asking if I'd had time to think things through. Another from my father saying Rachel was stressed and didn't need more complications. An aunt sent a screenshot of an article about rising rents. At work, my manager reassigned a client meeting without explanation. It wasn't punitive. It was cautious. People step back when something looks unstable. During a break, I checked the addendum again. The dates still didn't line up. The company name still didn't exist. The sender still wasn't who it claimed to be. Rachel's email arrived just before noon, shorter this time. Reminder that the deadline is approaching. Attached was the same PDF. No changes, no answers. By late afternoon, the legal intake service sent an automated follow-up. My case number had been assigned. Estimated review time remained 48 to 72 hours. Maya texted once. Don't argue facts with people who aren't listening. Just keep copies. That evening, I stopped by the house later than usual. Rachel wasn't home. The spare key was gone from the drawer. The doorbell camera screen showed a maintenance notice instead of a feed. My phone buzzed again. A message from Rachel, this time with a photo. A wall calendar on the kitchen fridge, Friday circled in red. Please confirm you've seen this, she wrote. The calendar photo stayed open on the screen as the group chat began to light up again, messages stacking while the circled date stared back, fixed and close, waiting for an answer. Maya met me at a public computer terminal the next afternoon because the county website timed out on her phone. She didn't say much while pulling up the property tax records. She just angled the screen so we could both see. There, she said. The owner line listed my full name, spelled correctly, with the address beneath it. Under mailing contact, a different line appeared. Rachel's name, her email, her phone number. That's not management, Maya said. That's routing. The record wasn't new. It hadn't been updated recently. It had been sitting there the whole time, unchanged, unchallenged. The tax payments were listed under my name too, year after year, paid electronically from an account Rachel had access to but didn't own. On the walk back to work, small things clicked into place without needing commentary. Mail had always gone through Rachel first. Utility notices, county letters, anything official. She said it was easier that way. She had the mailbox key. She said she'd keep things organized. That evening, a new email arrived before dinner. If the addendum isn't signed by tonight, I'll be scheduling a lock change tomorrow, Rachel wrote. No greeting, no signature, just a statement. The message sat there while the house stayed busy. Cabinets opened and closed. My mother asked if anyone wanted leftovers. My father turned up the news. I walked into the living room with my phone in hand. We need to talk, I said. Rachel didn't look up right away. She finished typing something, then set her phone face down on the table. About what? She asked. The county records, I said. They list me as the owner. She leaned back, folded her arms, and smiled without warmth. "Paperwork doesn't mean much without context," she said. The sentence landed clean and rehearsed. She stood, picked up her keys, and headed for the door. "This conversation is inappropriate," she added. "You're threatening my housing stability." By the time she left, my phone was already buzzing. Missed calls from my parents, texts stacking up. My mother's message came through first. "What did you say to your sister?" My father followed. "Rachel is very upset." Rachel called them before I could respond. Her version moved fast. "I was trying to take the house. I was being aggressive. I was confusing paperwork with reality." By the next morning, another email arrived. Different subject line, more formal tone. "Notice of rent adjustment effective immediately." The effective date was the next day. At work, my calendar shifted again. A meeting removed, another postponed. My manager stopped by my desk and asked if everything was under control. "It's a family thing," I said. He nodded, already stepping back. Maya texted once. "Did you screenshot everything?" The lock threat didn't happen that day. Instead, the pressure changed shape. Rachel stopped speaking directly. Everything went through email, through my parents, through phrasing that sounded official without being official. A message from my father suggested mediation. My mother asked if I'd apologize to smooth things over. The legal intake service sent another automated update. "Your case is still under review." That night, Rachel taped a printed notice to the fridge. Same adjustment, same number, different formatting. "It's just for clarity," she said when I pointed it out. The company logo at the top still didn't exist anywhere else. The effective date still didn't make sense. Another email came in just before midnight. This one shorter. "Please confirm receipt of the updated notice." The words stayed on the screen while the house settled around me. No one mentioned the ownership record again. No one asked why the mailing contact wasn't the same as the owner. The story had already chosen its lane. My phone buzzed with one more message, this time from Rachel. "If you don't comply, I'll escalate." The cursor blinked over an empty reply field while the clock rolled closer to midnight, the new rent adjustment ticking toward its start time, already active on paper, waiting to become real. The front door didn't feel different until it stopped halfway. The knob turned, but the latch caught on something new. A second lock, one that hadn't been there that morning. The old key still worked, after a pause, metal grinding before giving way. The door opened just enough to let me step through. Shoes were lined up by the wall the same way they always were. Nothing else had changed. Rachel's voice came from upstairs, calm and loud enough to carry. "I scheduled the locksmith for next week," she said, "and a property advisor, just to get everything aligned." My parents were already in the living room. My mother stood up when she saw me. "This doesn't have to be like this," she said. "Just cooperate so we can have peace." Rachel came down the stairs, phone in hand, scrolling as she spoke. "It's temporary," she said. "You're making it harder than it needs to be." I pointed at the door. "There's a new lock," I said. "That's preventative," Rachel replied, given how tense things have gotten. My father crossed his arms. "Rachel is trying to keep the situation stable," he said. "You pushing back is escalating it." No one asked who authorized the lock. No one asked why the effective date on the rent notice had jumped ahead. The conversation moved past those details without touching them. Rachel's phone buzzed. She glanced down and smiled slightly. "The advisor confirmed," she said. "They'll help formalize things." I went to check the doorbell feed. The screen still showed a maintenance message. When I followed the wire along the siding, the plug was loose, not broken, just pulled. Upstairs, Maya's name lit up my phone. "Print everything," she texted. "Certified copies if you can." The next hour passed in pieces. A printer down the street. County records pulled up again. My name at the top. Owner. Mailing contact listed separately. Payment history attached. Maya met me long enough to hand over a folder. She didn't stay. "I can't stop this part," she said, "but you need to have it in your hands." Back at the house, Rachel was on another call. "Yes, next week works," she said. "No, she's aware." My mother hovered near the kitchen. "Just sign it," she said quietly. "This is tearing us apart." The folder felt heavier than it looked. Every page was stamped, dated, unmistakable. I set it on the counter. "These are county records," I said. Rachel didn't look. "Paper trails don't override agreements," she said. The doorbell camera screen stayed dark. The new lock caught again when someone tested it from the outside. Rachel's phone chimed with a calendar alert. "I don't have time for this tonight," she said. "We'll handle it properly." The house moved around me as if I wasn't there. Dinner plates, drawers, low voices. Upstairs, Rachel's bedroom door closed. A key turned from the other side. The folder rested against my chest as I stood in the hallway. The lock clicked again, final and deliberate, just inches away. The email arrived before sunrise, flagged as urgent by a system that didn't know my name. Account changes completed. Utilities. Access updated. No explanation beyond a reference number and a link that led to another automated page. The lights still worked. The water still ran. What changed was control. Every button I clicked sent me back to the same message. Downstairs, my parents were already awake. Coffee poured, plates set. Rachel's door stayed closed. "This has gone far enough," my mother said. "Just apologize so we can calm things down." My father nodded. "You don't have to agree with her. Just say you're sorry." No one mentioned the lock. No one mentioned the county records. The request was simple and heavy. Restore peace. I didn't argue. The words didn't line up anymore. The folder from the night before sat on the counter, unopened. Each page inside it had been earned by a decision I hadn't made. For years, Rachel handled the mail because she liked schedules. She managed calendars because she was organized. She spoke to vendors because she was better at it. None of that felt dangerous at the time. That was the mistake. Not trusting her, but outsourcing attention. Letting someone else hold the rhythm of daily life until it felt normal. By the time the pattern mattered, it was already set. Maya called mid-morning. "Don't go back there today," she said. "Get the documents first." She walked me through it step by step. Certified copy of the deed. Full tax payment history. Originals, not screenshots. Then the notice. Proper form, proper service. California doesn't care about tone. It cares about sequence. The instructions were precise. The cost was clear. Once those papers moved, there was no pretending this was a misunderstanding. Back at the house, my parents tried again. "Rachel is scared," my mother said. "You have to see that." "I do," I said. "What she's doing isn't okay," my father added, softer this time. Then he paused. "But this isn't the way families handle things." The folder stayed closed. The conversation went in circles without touching it. By afternoon, another message arrived from the utility portal, confirming the access change again. The language was neutral. The outcome wasn't. Maya sent one more text. "County recorder appointments fill fast. Book it." The county site loaded slowly. Name fields, address confirmation, document type, appointment reason. Each step locked in a direction. I thought about the spare key in the drawer that wasn't there anymore. The doorbell feed that went dark. The rent notice dated backward. The way every system accepted Rachel's version because it arrived first. An apology wouldn't reset any of that. Later that evening, the house settled into a routine that didn't include me. Doors opened and shut. A television volume rose, then dropped. Rachel stayed upstairs. Messages kept arriving from systems that didn't ask questions. A billing portal thanked me for my patience. Another confirmed nothing would be disconnected during the review period. I called the utility company and followed the prompts until a person answered. "Only the account holder can make changes," the representative said. "My name is on the account," I said. "There's an authorized contact listed," she replied. "Changes were requested through that channel." I asked how to reverse it. "You'll need documentation," she said. "We can email the form." The form arrived while we were still on the line. At dinner, my parents tried a different angle. My mother asked if I remembered how much Rachel had helped when the house was purchased. My father said families survive by choosing harmony over being right. Neither mentioned the word owner. I carried the plate back to the sink untouched. The folder stayed closed because opening it wouldn't change the decision. It would only make it final. Maya sent a voice note. "This isn't about winning," she said. "It's about stopping the bleed." The words fit the moment better than anything else. Every hour that passed made it easier for someone else to define the facts. The cost of acting now was obvious. The cost of waiting wasn't listed anywhere, but it was accumulating. Another email arrived from the legal intake service, still automated, still polite, still non-committal. Estimated review time, unchanged. I gathered identification, printed the checklist, set the alarm earlier than usual. The steps became smaller and more manageable once they were written down. I set the folder by the door and charged my phone for the morning ahead. The appointment page refreshed. A slot opened for the following morning. I clicked it. The confirmation screen appeared with a reference number and a location. The instructions warned to arrive early and bring identification. The laptop hummed as I moved the cursor to the final button, pressed confirm, and closed the screen. The first clue didn't come from my sister. It came from the bank. The subject line looked routine enough to miss if I hadn't been waiting for bad news. A notification about an application status update. That didn't make sense. I hadn't applied for anything. The message was short, polite. It thanked me for my interest and said the application was under review. At the bottom, a contact name appeared, Rachel. The branch number matched a place I'd driven past 100 times without stopping. The loan type wasn't listed, but the property address was. My address. I called the bank and worked through the prompts until someone answered. "There's a refinance application in progress," the representative said. "It's been flagged, so I can't discuss details." "I didn't submit an application," I said. "There's an authorized contact listed," she replied. "We're reviewing the file." The call ended with instructions to wait for further communication. Maya met me later with her laptop open and a stack of printed pages. She didn't ask questions this time. She showed me the screen. An old power of attorney form sat there, scanned and uploaded. My signature was on it, dated years back from when the house paperwork was first handled. Limited scope, expired on paper, but never formally revoked in the system Rachel had been using. "That's the lever," Maya said. She didn't need ownership. She needed friction. The pieces lined up without effort. The backdated lease addendum created a tenant dispute on record. The fake management company added a layer of distance. Together, they made the refinance look like a corrective step instead of a grab. Rachel hadn't been reacting to the moment. She'd been moving toward it. That night, another message arrived from my bank portal. "Your account has been temporarily restricted pending review." I called again. A different representative answered, voice careful. "There's an internal complaint," she said. "It alleges financial coercion." The word sat there between us. "Who filed it?" I asked. "I can't disclose that," she replied. The restriction froze everything connected to the house: automatic payments, document uploads, access to historical statements. The system didn't accuse, it paused. Rachel sent a text 10 minutes later. "This didn't have to get so complicated," she wrote. "You forced my hand." My parents followed with calls I didn't answer. Voicemails stacked up. Concern layered with disappointment. A request to stop before things got worse. At the county recorder's office the next morning, the clerk handed back my documents with a stamped receipt. "These are valid," she said, "but any active dispute can delay updates." Delay. Another word that sounded harmless until it wasn't. Back outside, Maya pointed at the time on her phone. "She's ahead of you on purpose," she said. "Every pause benefits her." The realization didn't land like shock. It landed like confirmation. The spare key, the mailbox, the utility access, the timing, none of it was improvised. It was maintenance. Quiet, steady, months in the making. Rachel called while we stood there. "I hope you're thinking clearly," she said when I answered. "This kind of stress isn't good for anyone." "You applied for a refinance," I said. She didn't deny it. "I was protecting the asset," she replied. You weren't managing it responsibly. I asked why my name was still on the loan. That's being addressed, she said. The call ended without goodbye. By afternoon, another email came from the bank, this one more formal. Due to the nature of the complaint, access to certain records has been temporarily suspended. The attachments I'd uploaded earlier were now grayed out, unavailable. Maya tried another route, a different department, a fax number, a request marked urgent. Each response followed the same pattern. Pending, under review, please allow time. Back at the house, Rachel had rearranged the entryway. A clipboard hung by the door with printed notices in clear sleeves. The new rent adjustment, the upcoming appointments, a contact list. My mother stood nearby, arms folded. She's trying to fix this, she said. Why can't you see that? The clipboard stayed on the wall. Upstairs, Rachel's door was open now. Boxes lined the floor, labeled, organized. I'm documenting everything, she said when she saw me, for transparency. The folder from the recorder's office felt smaller in my hands than it had before. Valid, but slowed. Correct, but boxed in. Another notification hit my phone. Application under review. Rachel's name appeared again as the assigned contact. The system accepted her role without question. The screen refreshed and locked, waiting for a decision that wasn't mine to make yet. The meeting happened at the dining table because it was the only place big enough. My parents sat on one side. Rachel took the end closest to the door. My phone rested face up near my elbow, already connected to the call. Everyone here? The lawyer asked through the speaker. Yes, I said. No one spoke after that, so I started by placing the first document on the table. A certified copy of the deed. Heavy paper. Stamps that couldn't be mistaken for decoration. That shows ownership, the lawyer said. It's current and valid. Rachel leaned forward, lips pressed together. That doesn't tell the whole story, she said. You know that. I didn't answer. The second set of papers slid out next. Tax records, insurance statements, years of payments, all in the same name. These reflect responsibility for the property, the lawyer continued. They align with the deed. My father picked up one page, then another. He didn't look at Rachel. My mother folded her hands and stared at the table. Rachel exhaled sharply. I handled those payments, she said. I made sure everything got paid. That's not what these records show, the lawyer replied. They show who paid, not who scheduled reminders. The third item stayed in my hand for a moment longer. Then it joined the others. Printed emails. A refinance application. Rachel's personal account listed as the point of contact. This is a misunderstanding, Rachel said quickly. I was helping. She wasn't responding, so I stepped in. The lawyer didn't raise his voice. Submitting a refinance application without authorization is not assistance, he said. It's an overreach. Rachel turned to my parents. Tell him, she said. You know how this house works. My mother looked at me, then at the documents. Why didn't you just tell us, she asked. The lawyer answered instead. The process matters, he said, and so do boundaries. Rachel shook her head. You're blowing this up, she said. This could have stayed in the family. The phone chimed softly, an email notification. I didn't touch it. There are immediate consequences, the lawyer said. The refinance will be halted. Any further attempts could expose you to liability. Rachel's mouth opened, then closed. The room stayed still. My phone chimed again. Another message. This one from the county system. A standard update, automated and exact. Ownership record confirmed. No one laughed. The timing did the work on its own. I reached into my bag and pulled out the final page. A printed notice. 30 days. Clear language. No commentary. This is formal notice to vacate, the lawyer said as I signed. It complies with state requirements. The pen scratched across the paper. Rachel stared at the signature like it might change. You can't be serious, she said. I slid the notice across the table toward her and stood. The call ended. The documents stayed where they were. No one followed as I walked out of the room, leaving the paper in front of her, already counting down. Rachel moved out on day 26. Not early enough to feel cooperative, not late enough to fight it. Boxes lined the driveway in uneven stacks, labeled in her handwriting. The refinance disappeared quietly. No announcement, no apology. Just a short notice from the bank confirming the application had been withdrawn. My parents watched from the porch. They didn't comment on the boxes or the locks or the silence between us. When the last car door closed, my mother finally spoke. "Are you sure about this?" she asked. The question came without accusation, but it didn't carry support either. My father stood behind her, hands in his pockets, eyes on the ground. "Yes," I said. No one argued. No one said sorry. The space where explanations used to live stayed empty. The house felt larger after Rachel left, not cleaner, just unoccupied. Her room stayed closed for a few days until I opened it to check for anything left behind. Only a spare key sat on the dresser, placed neatly like it was meant to be found. The locksmith arrived the following morning. He changed every exterior lock while I stood nearby, clipboard in hand. Each turn of the screwdriver made something final. When he finished, he handed over a small ring with fresh keys and asked where to leave the invoice. "Email it," I said. Paperwork followed. Deeds and tax records went into a safe deposit box downtown. Originals only. Copies scanned and stored in a cloud folder with two-factor authentication turned on. The utility accounts were updated, one by one, with authorized contacts removed. Each confirmation email used the same tone: neutral, complete. My phone rang twice that afternoon. My mother once, my father once. Both calls ended the same way. "We just want things to be normal again," my mother said. "This is normal," I replied. After that, messages slowed. Group chats went quiet. I changed my number that weekend, leaving one line active for emergencies only. The silence that followed wasn't peaceful, but it was contained. Rachel didn't reach out again. No texts, no emails. The forwarding address she left worked for a while, then stopped. The house adjusted. Bills arrived addressed correctly. The doorbell feed came back online. Mail landed in the box without being rerouted. Systems that once bent around someone else's access settled into place. One evening, my parents stopped by unannounced. They stood in the entryway, unsure where to put themselves. "We're not taking sides," my father said. "I know," I said. They left after 10 minutes. No tension, no warmth, just distance measured carefully. The spare key stayed on the dresser until the last thing was done. I placed it in a small envelope and wrote one word across the front: returned. The seal closed with a soft press. It fit neatly into a drawer with other finished matters. That night, a final notification arrived from the bank. No further action required. It didn't ask for acknowledgement. It didn't explain. It simply cleared the screen and moved on. I stood alone in the living room, lights on, doors secured, the envelope resting where it belonged, already sealed, already done.